So again, what we're looking at here is a Daewoo hot water dispenser. It's a model number SDA1247. It was bought from the Rushden Wilko Stores branch. It was bought on the 17th of June and it remained boxed, unopened until October the 28th, when we took this out late evening, plugged it in, boiled a couple of cups of water with it to clean it through, made a cup of tea, and that was that. A few hours later it goes up in flames, and there's other videos that can talk about that, or that do talk about that. This particular video is just really going to discuss what's happened since, what you can expect, and and how disappointed you're very likely to be if you're in a similar situation to us. The day after the fire, I went down to the Wilko branch in Rushden, spoke to some people there. They then passed the details over to their head office. They contacted me, and so I've been going backwards and forwards with them, answering whatever questions they wanted answering. One good thing, and it's worth remembering this, if you ever have an incident like this and you can't find your receipt, Wilko and possibly other stores, especially larger companies, can find the details of your sale based on your payment method. Obviously not cash, but if you pay by card, you can give them certain digits from your card number, and they can go back through their records. And very fortunately for us, Wilko did find the sale on the 17th of June. It's roughly when we thought we purchased it, but couldn't be sure. So they have found that, and they have furnished copies of that, and I've managed to give those copies to other people who have required them. So Wilko have done that for us, but after that it's pretty much you're on your own, and I'll explain what's gone on. So eventually in fact within a few days we had a phone call from a loss adjuster called Sedgwick. Their web address is here. It's sedgwick.com/UK, and it takes you to this Solutions Global. So they seem to do absolutely everything. Big loss adjusters, and they deal with all sorts of problems. Had a phone call within a few days from them. They were supposed to come out and do a on-site visit, and I got a call. It was either the night before or the morning of the visit. I got a sneaky feeling it was the morning of the visit, to say, because Wilko had not yet found the receipt, they were cancelling the visit. So clearly, with no receipt, they are all going to wash their hands of the matter completely. But fortunately, as I say, we have the receipt. Now, I need to get the adapter for this. Just bear with me a second. Should have thought about that. We made a video earlier, and just on battery power, I've now plugged that into the power supply. Anyway, so where were we? Yes, so that home visit was cancelled. Eventually, once Wilko had found the receipt, they then said that because the new COVID lockdown had come into place, that they would be forced to do a video call inspection, and we've been waiting for that now for quite some time. It's Saturday, and on last Tuesday just gone, they phoned me and said that they would attempt to do a video call later that Tuesday or on the Wednesday. When I'd heard nothing and complained about that, they turned around and said that actually no, they hadn't promised a video call under any time frame, and we're still sat here waiting for that that video call to happen. The same loss adjuster on the first call advised me that we should probably put this through our own insurance company, and also mentioned that if one work surface in the kitchen is damaged, they won't be paying to replace the other 3 work surfaces to match, which seemed pretty odd. If you've got matching work surfaces and through no fault of your own something's burnt one of them, you would expect them all to be changed to match if the type that you've got fitted currently is no longer available, as is the case with us. But we'll go into that later on. So Sedgwick's, they're loss adjusters. They're supposed to be impartial, but on every occasion I've had any contact with them, whether it's via phone or email, they seem to only have one purpose, and that is to screw us over in one way or the other. So that's Sedgwick's. They were the loss adjusters appointed by Wilko's. We contacted a local fire damage restoration company called White Knight. They have been excellent. They came out, I think, the next day. This is their website. It is White Knight Service Group. Their website is wksg.co.uk. As I say, they are specialists in many things, but fire, smoke damage was one of them, and obviously the relevant one for us. 2 of them came out the next day. I can't remember the guys' names. It's in the emails, so it's not really relevant. They went over absolutely everything. They looked at everything. They explained everything that needed to be done, and they prepared a quote within 48 hours, I think it was. Now that quote was for about £3,800. Now the exact figure is not really relevant, but best part of £4,000. The ceilings have got to be cleaned. The walls have got to be cleaned. All of the items in the kitchen cupboards has to be taken away, professionally cleaned, and then brought back to us. All of the cupboards, shelves, all has to be cleaned. Various hard surfaces in the lounge and the back room need to be cleaned. Hallway ceiling and coving needs cleaning. Lounge diner carpet needs cleaning. There's quite an extensive list. But that is all done. We've passed that quote on to Wilko/Sedgwick. We contacted our own, and this is really important actually, this part. If you're lucky enough to be able to afford contents insurance and buildings insurance, you have to tell them about any incident, whether there's a loss or whether it's your fault or not. It's rather like car insurance. If you're involved in any sort of incident, whether it's your fault or not, and you don't tell them, and they later find out about it, they can cancel your insurance or refuse a claim, whatever it is that's going on at the time. So we actually contacted Direct Line, who are our contents provider, and then we contacted our buildings insurance, which ends up being underwritten by a company called Midas. Again, not really relevant who we're with, but we did tell them about the incidents, and we did say that we may well have to put claims in, as suggested by Sedgwick when they phoned us. Now, it seems strange that you would put a claim through your own insurance for something that you haven't done yourself. You would like to think that Wilko would take care of this fully themselves, but I think you can pretty much forget what is right, what should happen, because it's not going to happen that way. You're going to get screwed over as much as you possibly can be by everybody concerned. Nobody is interested in doing the right thing, helping you. Just forget all of that. Just look at it in a purely how screwed are you going to get in this type of incident. The loss adjuster, they're not here to help me. they're here to keep Wilko's insurance company's losses to an absolute minimum. Wilko, they've done nothing to help us. Oh dear, your kettle's gone up in smoke. Let's get a new kettle out to you. At least you can boil a cup of tea. Do you need some cleaning equipment? Come down to the store. Here's £20 worth of cleaning materials. Nothing. You just forget it. Whatever you have got in your head that might be right and that you would do yourself, just forget it. It's not happening. And if I sound pissed off, it's because I am. We had just been left high and dry. And we'll go through this further as I work through my notes here. So we have told Direct Line, we have told, God, I'm trying to think of the name of the actual company. Can't remember. Midas is the underwriter. That's the only thing that matters. So we said we might have to start claims with them. And then it sort of struck me that, well, let's say they authorise and get all the repairs and cleaning, all of this done between them. And just bear this in mind, Direct Line cover our contents. Now that means the contents that are in the kitchen cupboards. They won't clean the shelves, the cupboards, the walls, the ceilings, the carpets, etc. Actually, maybe the carpets, because that might be classed as contents when we never got that far. So Direct Line will send out a company to clean the contents. Midas would then have to send out a company to clean the cupboards, the shelves, the walls, the ceilings, the coving, etc., etc. They won't use the same company, nor will they guarantee that they will come out at the same time. So we could have a situation where Direct Line come out and take all the contents away and get it all cleaned, and then bring it back and store it in dirty cupboards on dirty shelves. Absolutely ridiculous. And then I thought of this one. So they've paid out. The total loss here, or the total amount that we would have to find to fund this, is 3,860 odd, I think, for the cleaning, and the quote to replace the damaged work surface, refit the existing sink in it, and replace the other 3 small pieces of work surface to match, I think it was 850 quid. It's really quite a small loss. So let's say they go halves each on that, and it's say £5,000. So it's £2,500 loss each for Direct Line and Midas, as an example. Does anyone actually think that they're going to bother going after Wilko's insurance company to get that money back? Is it worth them getting their solicitors or paralegals or whoever involved in claiming that money back from Wilko? Or are they just going to stuff us over with a £2,500 loss on each of our insurance companies? I suspect I know exactly where that's going, and we will have 2 claims on 2 insurance companies registered. Our insurance company, our insurance prices next year will go up to what the hell ever they like. We will have excesses to pay, and I think on both of these policies the policy excess is about 200 quid. So we're going to have 400 quid to fork out. How do we get that back? Are they going to take Wilko to court, or their insurance company to court, for us to get our 200 quid, 400 quid back? Who knows? It's not guaranteed, is it? They just might say, well, that's tough, you just have to write that off, down to experience. We've done absolutely nothing wrong, and that's how I see this going. So at the moment, everything with our own insurance companies is on hold, because I'm expecting Wilko, their loss adjusters, to eventually do the right thing. Or not. You tell me what's going to happen. Here's the next thing. Sedgwick's, on behalf of Wilko, have employed Burgoynes. That's the website we're on now. These are specialist consulting scientists and engineers. And basically these guys will go out to, I don't know, a big oil refinery fire, or a cruise ship fire, or an oil tanker ship fire. Multi-million pounds worth of claims, and this is what they investigate. So Sedgwick's have appointed these guys to come out, and they did on Thursday. A very nice guy, Frank, was here for best part of 2 hours, taking photos of, the whole ground floor of the house. You name it, he was taking photos of it. The electric consumer unit, all of the rooms, panoramic shots of all of the rooms, outside, photos of the burnt equipment, photos of the working but stripped down equipment that I did in my other teardown video on YouTube. Just everything. Because he's employed by Sedgwick's, he can't say too much, but just general chat, glean some interesting information. Now, why have they sent out this expert? Well, it's not to help us, let's put it that way. The only reason you employ somebody like this is because you could be having serious consequences if there is a fault with this item, which there clearly is. Maybe it was a one-off, who knows? That's what the expert's out here for. But they're not interested in our case, they're interested in their liability for all of the others that they may have sold. Are there still some on the shelves? Don't know that. The importer will also need to know this, because they could have sold 10, they could have sold 5,000. I have absolutely no idea. And on this front, I have now asked on 2 occasions via email, have these items been taken off the shelves, and have you issued a recall? And on both occasions, those questions have been completely ignored by Wilko, Wilko Legal and Sedgwick. Absolutely no idea. So, going back to Burgoyne's, the consulting engineers, took everything away on Thursday. He is expecting that the equipment will get looked at next week. The report will probably be available the week after that, so another 2 weeks. We will not be told by him what's in that report. Wilko have instructed him, or Sedgwick's have, so we're out of that loop. We don't get to find out. Should Sedgwick's tell us? Apparently they should inform us of the overall result of the report. If they don't, we can put a legal request in. Subject access is what they call it, a request for subject access. Again, all legal nonsense, but we're 2 weeks away from that. Now, as I said, we have had a number of emails from Wilko customer service. They have very limited information. We also had contact from a lady in their legal department. I think twice I think I've spoken to her. But now, when I send emails to Wilko, they are being ignored, and they are just simply forwarded on to Sedgwick's, the loss adjuster. And Sedgwick's emailed me just the other day and pretty much said, don't bother contacting Wilko or their legal department. They won't be answering any more questions or emails from me. Sedgwick's will be dealing with it themselves. And they have also ended that with that any money that they pay us will really be down to indemnity only. And when I can't remember the exact wording of the sentence, their liability is indemnity only. And if you sort of ask solicitors about this, it pretty much means that they're going to try and get away with the minimum payout possible. Like I said about the work surfaces, if you've got matching work surfaces and you get one burnt, they're not going to replace the others. Now, when I speak to my solicitor, he says if you've got line of sight from all of your work surfaces, and one of them's damaged and doesn't match and it's not your fault, then all 4, in our case, work surfaces should be changed to match. If you've got another work surface in a utility room that is separated from the kitchen by a door, then they don't have to replace that. If it's separated by a door, that type of arrangement, they don't have to replace that. But if you've got If you can stand in your kitchen and view all 3 or 4 or 5 pieces of work surface, then they should be changed. That seems fairly straightforward. Also, on their last email, the words "without prejudice" at the top. What does "without prejudice" mean? Well, it means you can't use the contents of that email in court. It's a very sneaky way of saying whatever you like without it being usable in court. And this is how you're going to be dealt with. As I said to start with, don't expect to be treated like you think you should be treated. Don't expect anyone to do anything right. They are only interested in legal speak, solicitors, loss adjusters, and that sort of thing. They're not interested in doing what you think is right and what should be done, as I've tried to explain here. So currently we are living with carcinogenic soot in all of the cupboards, over all of the plates, all over the kitchen. Obviously we've had to try and clean basic work surfaces, the cooker, some of the plates, so we can live day to day, but the rest of it has to be professionally cleaned. And then they fumigate it with a special chemical that neutralises the chemicals that are in the smoke. It's really complex when you actually investigate this sort of thing, and that's why it's £3,800. They take everything away. It's all ultrasonically cleaned. The house is cleaned by specialists with special chemicals. They're all fully protected, etc., etc. This is not something that your average householder should be doing. Okay. But we have had to clean some of the basics just so we can get by. So by the time the report comes through, about a month will have passed, and that's it. We will have this as an incident on our insurance files. That's going to make a difference to our premiums when they are next due. If we have to force this further, we may have to rely on our insurance companies to deal with this, and hopefully go after Wilko's insurance company. We're lucky we have a legal help system as part of our direct line policy. We pay 30 or 40 quid for it a year, so we can basically ring up at any time, 24 hours, 7 days a week, and get legal advice. And I have used that line about 4 times during this last couple of weeks. Now that solicitor will take over a case for us if they feel that there's a reasonable chance of success, and that may be a way to go at some point if Wilko and this loss adjuster do not do what we call the right thing, which is pay the bill for cleaning and the kitchen repairs. That's it. That's all we want. There's no personal injury and all of this nonsense. Oh, of course it would be very nice if Wilko turned around and said, well, you've had coughs and sore throats, headaches and nausea for a week because of this, and eventually when it turns out that it is their liability, it would be nice if they turned around and said, here's a 100 quid voucher, go and buy yourself some stuff in our store. But yeah, of course, are they going to do that? No, I doubt it very much. So there we are. Make sure you have insurances. I would always recommend having at least one policy that has a legal cover, because you never know when you might want to chat to a solicitor, and this is a classic example. 24/7 phone number we've got, so I would definitely recommend that. You must report incidents to your insurance companies. If you don't, you could well be in big trouble later on in the event of a proper claim, and that also applies to your car insurance as well. So make sure you do that. Really, you're screwed in this situation. I think it doesn't matter whether it was your fault or not. You're going to end up paying more for insurance, unless it's such a small claim that it really doesn't even get are registered at the insurance company. But a 3,800 claim and an 851, I think that's for sure is going to be registered as losses and against our insurance. So there you go. Don't know what else to say really. It's going to be a month before we even hear about the report. We're still waiting for Sedgwick's to do this video call so we can show them the damage, although they've got all sorts of reports already in front of them showing the damage, plus my video evidence that I've given them. Don't know what else they want really. And there we go. That's where we are at the moment. So hope that was useful, and yeah, we'll keep you informed.